All right, everyone, welcome back. It's truly fantastic to have you joining in today. Seriously, before we dive into something amazing happening all around us, right outside our windows, I just want to take a quick moment to send you all the very best wishes. Wherever you are in the world, whatever you're doing right now, I genuinely hope you're feeling strong, positive, and full of good energy. Health is the real wealth, so here's wishing you and everyone you care about excellent health, happiness, and peace of mind today and always. Take good care of yourselves and each other. Now, let's talk about one of the quietest, most powerful heroes on our planet, trees. You see them every day, standing tall in parks, lining streets, filling forests. They're beautiful, they give us shade, they're homes for birds and squirrels, but they're doing something absolutely vital for our planet, something invisible but incredibly important, happening right inside their leaves and branches. And here's a fact that might really surprise you. A single average-sized tree can absorb up to 48 pounds of carbon dioxide from the air in just 1 year. That's right, 48 pounds. Think about a bag of dog food, or maybe a medium-sized suitcase. That's roughly how much invisible gas one tree can suck out of the atmosphere annually. How is that even possible? Why do trees do this? And what does it actually mean for us and the air we breathe? Understanding this simple, incredible act reveals just how crucial trees are in the delicate balance of our planet's atmosphere. Let's start with the basics. We all know we breathe in oxygen and breathe out carbon dioxide, right? Well, trees do the exact opposite, but in a much more complex and powerful way. They perform this incredible magic trick called photosynthesis. Photo means light, synthesis means putting together. So, it's literally using light to build things. Here's how it works. The tree takes in water from the soil through its roots. It also sucks in carbon dioxide gas from the air through tiny pores on its leaves, called stomata. Then it uses energy from sunlight, captured by the green pigment in its leaves called chlorophyll, the stuff that makes leaves green, to power a chemical reaction. This reaction takes that carbon dioxide, CO₂, and water, H2O, and transforms them. It builds glucose, which is a simple sugar, the tree's main food source for energy and growth. And what's the leftover product from this amazing reaction? Pure oxygen, O2. That's the oxygen we, and almost all animals, need to breathe. So every single leaf on that tree is like a tiny, solar-powered factory, taking in CO₂ and water, using sunlight, and pumping out life-giving oxygen and food for the tree itself. It's the foundation of life on Earth as we know it. Now, back to that 48 pounds of CO₂ per year. That number is an average estimate for a healthy, mature tree in a good environment. Think about a decent-sized oak, maple, or pine tree in your local park. Where does all that carbon dioxide go? It doesn't just vanish. The carbon part of the CO₂ molecule gets locked away inside the tree itself. That glucose sugar the tree makes? It uses that as energy, but it also uses the carbon atoms to build everything else it needs. Carbon is the fundamental building block of life. It gets incorporated into the tree's wood, its bark, its roots, its branches, and its leaves. Essentially, the tree is building its entire body out of the carbon it pulls from the air. So, when you look at a tree, you're not just seeing wood and leaves, you're seeing captured carbon dioxide, transformed into solid matter. It's nature's way of taking a problematic gas and turning it into something solid and useful. That tree becomes a living carbon storage unit. But it's not just about grabbing CO₂ randomly. Trees are constantly working, day in and day out, throughout the growing season. During spring and summer, when sunlight is plentiful and temperatures are warm, photosynthesis is running at full speed. Leaves are wide open, soaking up the sun, pulling in CO₂, and converting it at a rapid pace. This is when the bulk of that carbon capture happens. At night, or during winter when deciduous trees lose their leaves, the process slows way down or stops entirely. The tree is still alive, but it's not actively photosynthesizing and capturing large amounts of CO₂. So, the 48 pounds per year represents the total captured over the active growing periods. Think of it like the tree working a busy job during the warm months and taking a break in the cold ones, but its annual salary in captured carbon is about 48 pounds. Now, you might be thinking 48 pounds sounds like a lot, but is it really? Let's put it into perspective. The average passenger car in the United States emits about 4.6 metric tons of carbon dioxide per year. 1 metric ton is 2,204 pounds. So, 4.6 tons is roughly 10,141 pounds. How many trees absorbing 48 pounds each year would it take to balance out the CO₂ emissions from just one car? You'd need about 211 trees working nonstop year after year. That's a whole small forest just to offset one vehicle. Or think about flying. A round-trip flight from New York to London might emit around 2,000 pounds of CO₂ per passenger. You'd need over 40 trees absorbing CO₂ for a year to capture just that one trip. This really shows how massive our human CO₂ emissions are and how much work trees have to do to make even a small dent. It underscores why protecting existing forests and planting billions of new trees is so critical. Every single tree counts, but we need a lot of them. It's also important to know that not all trees are created equal when it comes to carbon capture. That 48-pound figure is an average, but several factors influence how much CO₂ a tree actually absorbs. The species matters a lot. Generally, fast-growing trees with dense wood, like pines, oaks, or eucalyptus, tend to absorb more carbon more quickly in their younger years because they're building biomass fast. Slower-growing hardwoods might absorb less annually initially, but store carbon for much longer periods once mature. The age of the tree is crucial. A young sapling is busy establishing itself, so its absorption rate is relatively low. As it grows rapidly into a young adult tree, its carbon uptake skyrockets. This is often its peak absorption phase. A massive, ancient tree might not be adding new wood and thus new carbon storage as quickly as a young, vigorous tree, but it holds an enormous amount of carbon that it's captured over its lifetime. Its storage is immense, even if its annual capture rate has slowed. The environment plays a huge role too. A tree growing in rich, moist soil with plenty of sunlight and space will grow much faster and absorb much more CO₂ than the same type of tree struggling in poor, dry soil, shaded by others, or damaged by disease. Location matters as well. Trees in tropical regions, where growth happens year-round, can absorb more annually than trees in temperate zones with distinct winters. What happens to the carbon once the tree captures it? As long as the tree is alive and healthy, the carbon remains locked away in its trunk, branches, roots, and leaves. This is fantastic. It's long-term storage. But trees don't live forever. When a tree dies naturally and decomposes slowly on the forest floor, most of that stored carbon is gradually released back into the atmosphere as CO₂ as fungi and bacteria break down the wood. If the tree is harvested and the wood is used to make furniture, build a house, or even create paper, that carbon can stay locked away for decades or even centuries. A wooden table or the beams in an old building are essentially holding onto carbon that was pulled from the air long ago. This is why sustainable forestry and using wood products can be part of the carbon solution. It keeps the carbon out of the atmosphere. However, if the tree is burned, either in a wildfire or as firewood, that stored carbon is released back into the atmosphere as CO₂ very quickly, undoing years or decades of storage. Protecting forests from fire and deforestation is vital to keep that carbon safely stored. This incredible ability of trees makes them one of our most powerful natural allies in the fight against climate change. Climate change is largely driven by the buildup of greenhouse gases, especially CO₂, in the atmosphere. These gases trap heat from the sun, warming the planet. By actively removing CO₂ from the air and storing the carbon, trees act like giant, natural air filters and carbon sinks. They help mitigate the warming effect. Forests, especially vast tropical rainforests like the Amazon, are colossal carbon reservoirs. They're like the planet's lungs, breathing in CO₂ and breathing out oxygen, while also storing mind-boggling amounts of carbon. Protecting these existing forests from being cut down or burned is absolutely essential. When a forest is cleared, not only does it stop absorbing CO₂, but all the carbon stored in the trees and soil is often released, making deforestation a major source of CO₂ emissions, not a sink. So, stopping deforestation is step number 1. Step number 2 is reforestation and afforestation. That means planting trees where forests have been lost, reforestation, and planting trees in areas that weren't forests before, like degraded land, afforestation. Planting trees is a tangible, hopeful action anyone can support. But it's not just about sticking a sapling in the ground. It needs to be done thoughtfully, planting the right trees in the right places, ensuring they have a good chance to survive and thrive long term. It takes decades for a forest to mature and reach its full carbon storage potential. It's a long-term investment in our planet's future. And it's not just about carbon. Trees do so much more. They prevent soil erosion, regulate water cycles, cool the air locally, provide habitat for countless species, and offer us places for recreation and peace. They're multi-talented climate warriors. So, the next time you walk past a tree, or sit under its shade, or look out at a forest, remember the silent, vital work it's doing. That tree isn't just a pretty part of the scenery, it's a hardworking machine, tirelessly pulling tons of carbon dioxide out of the air we share, locking it away safely, and giving us back clean oxygen in return. That 48 pounds per year is a testament to its quiet power. It's a reminder that nature has powerful solutions built in if we just protect and nurture them. Supporting organizations that protect forests, choosing products from sustainably managed sources, and even planting a tree yourself if you can. These are all ways to help these natural heroes do their job. Because every tree planted, every forest saved, is a step towards a healthier atmosphere, a more stable climate, and a brighter future for all of us. Let's appreciate these leafy giants not just for their beauty, but for the invisible, life-sustaining service they perform every single day. Stay healthy, stay grateful for nature, and thanks for learning about this amazing natural superpower with me today.